Today on an all-new Dr. Phil. They, of course, have never met in person. Ricardo has been stuck in Canada. How do you get stuck in Canada?
He went there for a job.
I go to Canada all the time. I never been stuck. Does he know you're here?
No, he does not.
Surprise. You go to food banks, but you're feeding his Beverly Hills maid.
Yes.
What kind of no-good son of a bitch will take money from a woman? Let's do it.
Have a good show, everybody. Here we go.
This is a safe place to talk about hard things.
Stand by. We'll count you down.
Today is going to be a changing day in your life.
5, 4.
Get ready to take care of you. Well, Terri says 2 years ago, she hit the jackpot when she met her boyfriend, Ricardo, a handsome man with millions of dollars who was looking for someone to spoil. Now, Terri says they instantly fell in love and began planning their future together. She says right now, he calls her his wife. They have a condo together in Houston, Texas, just waiting for them to move into. But there's one thing standing in their way. She says Ricardo has been stuck in Canada for over a year now, waiting to collect their investment from the money she has sent him in Bitcoin. The money he told her would be worth at least $800,000 by now. Oh, and there's just one other little problem. They, of course, have never met in person. Now, we deal with these sometimes because we're trying to get the word out. And we've done a really deep dive, and we have discovered some things that you are going to be shocked by today, because there is actually a manual that's training these scammers on what to do and how to do it. And we got our hands on it. And we're going to take a look inside there. We have it in our hands. Terri's sister, Tammy, says she knows exactly why her sister has never met Ricardo. Well, because she says he's a catfish who's using some innocent man's photograph and sweet-talking Terri out of her hard-earned money. But Terri refuses to believe her or anyone who tries to tell her otherwise.
For the last 2 years, my sister Terri has been involved with a man by the name of Ricardo. They met on Facebook Messenger. Ricardo claims that he's a U.S. citizen, that he has a home in Malibu, but he claims that he is in Canada. Allegedly, Ricardo has an import-export business, and he also has a construction business. Ricardo does tell my sister Terri that he's in love with her, he wants to marry her, he wants to share his millions with her, and Terri believes it. Ricardo looks to be late 50s, very handsome. Neither Terri or myself should expect a millionaire stranger that looks like Ricardo to fall in love with us. Terri has never met Ricardo. They've been dating for 2 years. Ricardo has told Terri at least every month that he's coming back to the United States. Then he makes excuses, probably over 20 times.
When I saw Ricardo on video, he looked just like the photos he had sent me, so I knew he was real.
I'm sorry, I don't believe it. Because first of all, you've never told me that you had video. I'm thinking maybe you're getting confused. My understanding was that Terri has sent Ricardo between $50,000 and $75,000 over the last 2 years. It makes me sick to my stomach and sad. I know that Ricardo is a scammer, because why would a millionaire ask somebody for money? I have confronted Terri multiple times. I've lost my temper with her more than once. I've told her that she's being scammed, and she told me no. Everybody believes I'm being scammed except me.
This has to be heartbreaking for you.
It's very heartbreaking.
Because you care so much about her.
Yes.
And she's worked all of her life for this, and she's not a wealthy woman, right?
No, not at all.
And why are you guys here? Why'd you bring her here?
I brought Terri here because She told me that the only way she would believe that he was really scamming her is if you told her so. And her health is at risk right now because she's waiting for him to come to the U.S., bring her to Houston, and then she's going to get some of her medical issues taken care of. And she needs to do that now.
Because she cannot afford this. She can't afford to be sending anyone money. If she was sending it to a nunnery, she couldn't afford to be doing that right now, right?
That's correct. That's correct.
And so she's doing this at her own peril. And sometimes she doesn't even have money for groceries, right?
I've sent her groceries multiple times over the last 2 years.
She's had to go to food banks and stuff, and she's sending this jerk money?
Yes.
Now, how many times has he said, hey, I'm going to be there, we're going to meet?
Probably more than I know, but at least 20 times.
Yeah,
so,
at least 20 times.
Yes.
And he's in Canada.
Supposedly.
Okay, that's what he says.
Yes.
I mean, that's his story.
Yes.
And, you know, that's not like the jungles of Africa. He says he's in Canada. I mean, seriously, that's like going to Bakersfield. Really?
Well, and she lives in Vancouver, Washington, which is not that far away from Canada.
It's like L.A. It's like Denver. It's just a city. It's not like you've got to sneak in or something. So why hasn't she gone to see him? He says, I'm coming 20 times. What's her reason to say, hey, I'm going to surprise him? I'm just going to go there and make his day.
Well, I don't think she really knows exactly where he's at, and she doesn't have any money to travel.
Yeah. This woman was a staff sergeant working in intelligence.
Yes. Wow.
She could find him. Right? I mean, because you got to ask, does she really want to know, or is she afraid to find out?
I think she's afraid to find out. I think she does really want to know.
Because let me tell you something, Tammy, because I take this very seriously. We've put a lot of resources into this, and I don't take lightly bursting her bubble here, because this is a sad day for her to find out if she's being scammed. And I don't take lightly breaking somebody's heart, and I really don't. I realize she's very much into this and will mourn this relationship if it's lost. I mean, that'll be a hard time for her.
Yes.
And that's not fun to visit that on someone, but I tell you what, the only thing worse than being in a fraudulent, non-existent relationship for a year is being in it for a year and 1 day. The sooner you know, the better, right?
Yes.
What does she say about the fact that he's supposedly this really wealthy guy, but he's asking her for money?
Well, I think part of it is she thinks she's investing in a company. But in the beginning, he used lots of other excuses. I don't know all of them, but I know at one time he couldn't pay the cell phone bill because his money was tied up and he couldn't get to it because he was in Canada and she was in the U.S. I mean, the money was in the U.S. bank. I don't know.
She's suspended logic, though, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Because if you're worth millions of dollars and you get it so tied up you can't pay a phone bill, you're an idiot.
Yes, I agree.
Right?
Right.
I mean, if your money's so tied up that you don't have $40 to pay for some daily bill, then you're a moron. And
I agree.
Morons don't usually have millions of dollars.
Right.
So there's got to be a complete suspension of logic, which means emotion has taken over. Mm-hmm. And that's what we have to deal with here. I don't know that logic will do this. You have to deal with it on multiple levels. And listen, I'm very sensitive to her feelings, and I want you to know that. I don't want to be harsh with your sister. This isn't funny. It's not.
No.
But it is ridiculous. She is here. Her sister is Terri. She's here. She says she knows Ricardo is real, and she's supposed to receive her first check from her investment tomorrow. Just like she's supposed to meet him 20-plus times, and he always has an excuse for not showing up. And you can list them. I mean, she's watched this show before, right?
Yes, she does.
I have a question for her about that, and we're going to meet right after the break.
Ricardo asked me to marry him, and I said yes. Ricardo has an accent. Sometimes I cannot figure out what he's saying, but he doesn't sound African. People are telling me that Ricardo's not real, that he's scamming me. I don't believe them. I would like to spend the rest of my life with Ricardo.
And later, what kind of man would take much-needed money out of her pocket, food out of her mouth for any reason whatsoever? Does that sound like love to you?
Terri absolutely will not listen. Anything rational that anybody tells her. I have said point blank to Terri multiple times that Ricardo is not who he says he is, and he's a scammer. She tells me, I hope you're going to apologize whenever you find out he's real.
Well, Tammy says for 2 years she's been begging her sister Terri to stop sending money to multi-millionaire Ricardo, a man that she met through Facebook Messenger. He looks like that guy in the commercials for the most interesting man in the world. She says her sister is so desperate for Ricardo to be real that she'd rather go hungry, literally, than believe the truth.
Ricardo and I have been in a relationship for 2 years. I met him on Facebook, on Messenger. He wanted someone to spoil, and I said, you can spoil me. He's very handsome. He told me that he lives in LA in 90210 area code. He's in Canada working in Montreal. We started telling each other. We were in love within a month. Ricardo asked me to marry him, and I said yes. Ricardo calls me his wife. Ricardo and I talk at least twice a day. Ricardo has an accent. Sometimes I cannot figure out what he's saying, but he doesn't sound African. It bothers me that Ricardo and I have not seen each other in person. I am desperately trying to get Ricardo here. He always has an excuse. Something always interferes with it. About a month after Ricardo and I met, he started asking me for money. I have no idea how much money I've sent. It's probably $20,000. But I really don't know. People are still telling me that Ricardo's not real, that he's scamming me, that he's not in Canada, he's in Nigeria or some other African country. I don't believe them. I believe Ricardo's real. I would like to spend the rest of my life with Ricardo.
Well, Terri, good to meet you.
Good to meet you too, Dr. Phil.
I know you have your phone with you.
Yes, sir.
That's in case he calls?
Yes.
If he does, I'd love to meet him.
I'll put it on speaker, but it hasn't been working. You have to be, like, put it to your ear to hear him.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of radio signals and stuff in here, but maybe we can get it to pull through if he comes through, because I would love to chat him up.
I know he will not like to talk to you.
I bet he wouldn't. Does he know you're here?
No, he does not.
He does not.
He thinks I'm at home.
Yeah. Surprise. So tell me about Ricardo.
Somebody's calling right now.
Yeah, let's see who that is.
Oh, it's not him.
Oh, well, they can wait. Whoever it is can wait.
I get a lot of junk phone calls.
Yeah. So tell me about Ricardo.
He tells me that he lives in LA, that his father was American and his mother is Italian. But I think he was born in the U.S. I know he has a U.S. passport, or at least that's what he told me. That he has
Yeah,
a
you don't
US
know
passport.
it. That's what he told you.
Right.
But so he's like half Italian?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
That's what he claims. I can't tell where the accent is from.
But he does have an accent.
He does have an accent.
Uh-huh. But he was born here?
That's what he told me.
Uh-huh. And lived here all of his life?
Yes, he was living here in L.A. When I first met him.
Yeah, 90210. Yeah, that's where I live. I haven't seen him, but it's pretty big area. When you first met, it was just on
Messenger. On Facebook.
And he reached out to you?
He had a statement out that said he was looking to spoil somebody. Like, I can be spoiled.
raised your hand.
Yeah, and that's
Yeah.
how it started.
Uh-huh. And did you guys get on right away? Just get along right away?
Yes,
Uh-huh.
and I sent him my telephone number, and he called, and we've been texting and talking on the phone ever since.
Uh-huh. And what was it that drew him to you, you think?
I really have no idea, because he's a very handsome man. He's in shape.
Yeah.
I know, and I'm sure a lot of younger girls than I would be interested.
Yeah. And what do you think, what did y'all talk about at first? Did you talk about the weather? Did you talk about...
Yeah, and asking, you know, he'd asked me to send him a picture, and he decided he liked what he saw.
Do you have common interest, or...
You know, I have no idea. We don't talk much about interest.
Yeah. Just love and money?
Yeah.
Yeah, really? Love
Yes,
and
and he
money.
loves my money.
Yeah. And he has a lot of money, right?
Supposedly, he
Yeah.
was looking to spoil somebody.
Yeah. And how much have you sent him? You're paying his maid in Beverly Hills?
I did once. They needed to get food for the house.
So you're buying food for the maid in the Beverly Hills home, but you're having trouble buying food for yourself. How much have you sent him?
I have no idea, but I've sent snapshots of all my Cash App. Thank you.
Yeah. You said you think it's probably 20 grand or more?
I think, yes.
Yeah. And why would somebody that has a lot of money...
Need money. I agree 100%.
But how do
Ask
you-
him that, and he hasn't given me a good answer.
Well, here are the answers he's given, because we made a list of them just to help you organize your thinking. Bitcoin investment,
Yes,
to keep a cryptocurrency wallet active.
yes,
Apparently fees are attached to that. Maids in the Beverly Hills home.
yes,
Burst pipes in the Beverly Hills home.
correct.
Transporting furniture to Texas for the condo.
Yes,
Food. You needed food. Units for phone. Consultant fee. Bank account activation and airfare.
yes.
So you're paying his maid in Beverly Hills?
I did once.
Well, why would he need you to pay his maid in Beverly Hills?
I think he wanted me to get them. They needed to get food for the house or something, which if nobody's there, what do they...
Well, but why wouldn't he pay that?
right. If he's rich, you know, yeah.
Well, no, that's not rhetorical. I'm asking you, why wouldn't he pay? Why did you ask him, well, why do you want me to pay that? You got more money than I do.
You know, I don't know if I asked him or not.
Well, let's think it through now. Why would he have somebody pay for that instead of him paying for it himself?
I really don't remember what he said, or if he said. I have a tendency to not question him on a lot of things.
Yeah. So you're buying food for the maid in the Beverly Hills home, but you're having trouble buying food for yourself.
Correct. I go to food banks or...
You go to food banks, but you're feeding his Beverly Hills maid.
Yes.
Does that make common sense?
No. Sometimes this whole thing doesn't make common sense to me.
There was an invoice that you received. Ricardo sent an invoice to prove that he was working in Canada. Ricardo's company name, Procurement LLC, is not listed on the invoice. And you know, this is really interesting. This is a receipt that's sent to you to prove that he's working in Canada. We had to blur this, but it's a picture of a car company. This doesn't have anything to do with where he says that he's working. And it says, bill to Terri. This is the bill to you, right here, okay?
Did I pay it?
Oh, yeah. And then it says here that this is ultra cold, number 5 degree freezers, and capacity of such and such and such. And it talks about vaccine packs, but they misspelled vaccine because they're not American or Canadian, which means English is their second language, so they took their best shot and misspelled vaccine. We look for little things.
I know you always find them too.
Yeah, the slash is in the wrong direction here. And then you come down here and the spacing and punctuation is, well, it's just off throughout the whole thing's fraud. It says 4/19/21 paid date was 1 day in the future. It says when it was paid, but it was paid. The invoice was sent on 4/18 and it was paid 4/19. You didn't have it. They got their dates all wrong. The whole thing's just made up. It's a car company, a car rental company. The document's a fraud. And then you've made a $1,500 investment in Bitcoin. And you say this $1,500 investment would grow to $1 million in 6 months.
In 6 months. That's what he told me.
Yeah. Well, we did the calculation, and here's what would have happened to your money if you were to receive your investment after 6 months. You'd start on 3/30/21 with an end date of 9/30/21, investment of $1,500. Trigger ending value would have been $1,078. That's an actual calculation. Of course, you wouldn't have gotten that because it's in his name.
No, I think it's in my name.
It's in your name? Yeah. Did you get the $1,000 back?
Nope. I haven't gotten anything back. Supposed to be getting money tomorrow from that.
Yeah. You think you will?
You know what? Right now, I don't know. I have no idea. No, I don't think I will.
Well, if you did, it's not worth much. I mean, you've lost money, you haven't made money. It didn't
Correct.
turn into $1 million. All right, Terri says she doesn't know how much money she has sent to Ricardo, but we do. And we're going to talk about that when we come back. You think you sent him around $10,000, $20,000?
Yes.
Well, you've actually sent him.
I need a tissue. I'm sick. Terri's financial situation is completely desperate. She has absolutely no savings. Terri sends Ricardo money on the 1st every month. As soon as her disability check hits her account, she goes hungry a lot. I personally have bought her groceries multiple times.
I have to go to food banks. I'm not doing well at all.
Well, both Tammy and Terri say they have no idea exactly how much money Terri has sent to her boyfriend. Well, he calls her his wife. But y'all haven't been through a ceremony or anything?
No, we haven't.
Okay. And you never actually met in person?
Never.
You never been in the same room with him or
No.
seen him? Ricardo, who claims to be stuck in Canada waiting for their Bitcoin investment to be paid out. How do you get stuck in Canada?
He went there for a job and...
Well, I go to Canada all the time. I've never been stuck. I mean, it's like going to Cleveland or something.
Supposedly he is waiting for all of our money to be released to us, so we don't have to struggle there in the future.
He could come see you for the weekend. I mean,
I would think so. I've told him, I've asked him, just come down for an hour if you don't want to come for the weekend. He never does. He never has.
Well, you could go see him.
Yeah, I haven't.
How long you been in a relationship with him?
2 years.
2 years? And in 2 years, neither one of you have ever figured out how to have lunch?
Nope. Haven't figured it out.
And there's no barrier to it, right? I mean, you can go into Canada.
No, I could go. Yeah, I have a passport.
And he can come here.
Yes.
I mean, he can come in the United States.
Passport.
He's not a felon or anything. He can come in.
No,
You
yes,
go out.
He could.
So, I mean, you can go for a couple $100 airline ticket.
Yes. I don't know. I might have a felon. I'm not sure.
Maybe. Terri says she sent $2,000 every month for the past 2 years and kept her bank account active. So, Terri, you think you sent him around $10,000, $20,000, something like that, right?
Yes, to keep the crypto account active.
Keep it active. Well, in terms of cash money, $2,640. In terms of Bitcoin, $76,921.51. So you've actually sent him a total of $79,561.51.
That's just a little bit over what debt I'm in.
Mm-hmm. What do you think about that?
I need a tissue.
What do you think about that?
I'm sick. I'm sick.
Because you've watched her. How hard did she work for that money? Every day.
She worked really hard.
Guess money doesn't mean much to me.
Well, he knows a lot about you, right? Because you've told him.
He knows, yes, because I've told him. And he can even tell, like, last night I was talking to him on the phone. We were outside the hotel, and he's like, "You're having a cigarette, aren't you?" I'm like, "Yeah." And he's like, "I know you so well."
Mm-hmm. And he knows you have some health challenges.
Yes, he does.
Uh-huh. And he knows that you're struggling financially.
Yes. He knows I go to the food bank, or that I have to.
Uh-huh. And he knows that some of these health problems are serious, that they need attention, and stress is bad, and nutrition is important, and
yes, he knows all that.
Let me ask you something. Forget about everything else. What kind of man would allow a woman to take much needed money out of her pocket, food out of her mouth, money for important care and treatment, and send it to them for any reason whatsoever?
Not a good one.
Does that sound like love to you?
No,
Whether he's real
not.
or not real. Let's assume he's 100% real. What kind of no good son of a bitch will take money from a woman like that?
I agree. You're gonna make me cry.
Well, I would rather you cry than keep sending that son of a bitch money. If he's as real as a donut, who would allow a woman to do that? Is that love?
No, I don't think that's love.
Because to me, that is selfish, no good, narcissistic user that would allow a woman to do that. I mean, let's assume he's as real as this gentleman sitting right here in the first chair. He's that real, that genuine. If somebody that would let a woman do that, knowing that her health is on the line, knowing that she's actually hungry, and allow her to send him money, do any of you think a decent human being, a decent man, would allow a woman to do that?
Gonna make me cry.
Well, I would rather you cry than keep sending that son of a bitch money. I'm not even debating yet whether he's real or not. But a man that would do that, I wouldn't swerve my car if he was in the crosswalk. Am I right or am I wrong?
Well,
That's not love. If he loves you, all this stuff he tells you, if he loves you, he wouldn't do that.
I believe you. I guess it's karma coming back my way.
I don't know about that. When Robin and I first were together, if it hadn't been for 2-for-1 burger bucks, one of us would have starved. But I guarantee you, I made sure she had what she needed before I had what I needed. That's been for 50 years. True or false?
True. It's true.
You just don't do that.
I agree.
So if he's real as rain, he's no good. He's got no moral compass. He's got no values. At one point, you actually blocked him.
Yes, I did.
Yeah. Well, we know you got it in you. But then Daryl Howard, who you also haven't met, that's his CEO?
Yes. Who's here in L.A., but he doesn't know I'm here.
Yeah. But he's here in L.A.?
Yes.
So we could just go knock on his door, right?
Yes, we could, but I don't know his address, but yes, we could.
Yeah, well, we looked into that too. Here's an email. Get this right. This is no joke. You alone will be earning not less than $800,000 out of this contract, and your husband, you're not married, will earn as much as 2,000,000. So that's 2,000,000. So I guess that's 2 million.
I guess.
Be more patient. Thanks. Do me a favor. Unblock your husband and make him happy. That's the CEO of the company.
Now, that CEO doesn't know that Ricardo and I have never met face to face.
Yeah, he doesn't know a lot, like where to put commas in a number. Terri says once her boyfriend slash husband slash lover slash multi-millionaire send me money guy can leave Canada, his next job is in Austin, Texas. He's going to work in Austin or live in Houston?
Yes. Ricardo's company that he's working for bought the condo for us. I'm very excited.
He gave her the address. We looked it up, and it was about $3,500 a month for a one-bedroom. Ricardo was telling her that they were going to live there together once he got back to the United States. He gave her the address, even the number. We looked it up, and it is for sale right now. It's been on the market since last June. Nobody's living in it. What Ricardo is saying does not add up.
Terri says once her boyfriend slash husband slash lover slash multi-millionaire send me money guy can leave Canada after receiving their investment money, his next job is in Austin, Texas. In fact, Terri says Ricardo's boss, Daryl Howard, has already purchased them a condo in Houston, Texas, for them to live in. He's going to work in Austin but live in Houston?
Yes.
Terri's sister, Tammy, doesn't believe Ricardo or Daryl Howard are telling the truth. You don't believe they exist,
Not at all.
let alone telling the truth.
Right.
You think they're the same person?
Yes.
Just an alter ego? Okay. And so this Daryl Howard supposedly lives here in L.A., but he bought him a condo.
In the next contract that Ricardo had placed for them to do, he put in that they have to buy us a place to live or a house or in Houston.
Okay. And they said, okay, we'll just buy you a condo.
Yep. Or we'll buy you a house, and I chose a condo.
Okay, you did? Okay. And so they did.
Yes.
And Daryl has the keys.
Yes.
So you could go by and pick them up today.
Yeah, Timmy asked me, why don't you come down to your condo then and visit?
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you why you can't. Next, Terri says the only person who has the keys to her and Ricardo's new condo in Houston is Ricardo's CEO, Daryl Howard. Well, we spoke to someone who also happens to have a key. Hear what they had to say when we come back. That's the address, that's the unit number, and that's the unit that supposedly is your next place to live. Well, we're out of time for today, but we're not finished here. Tomorrow, we're going to take you inside the Houston condo that Ricardo claims his CEO, Daryl Howard, allegedly bought Terri and Ricardo. Plus, I got my hands on a 40-page treasure trove of secrets, a literal manual that every romance scammer does not want you to know about, but I do. Plus, I have someone I think is crucial that Terri hears from. Take a look. Tomorrow on an all-new Dr. Phil, the document's a fraud.
Gonna make me cry?
Well, I would rather you cry than keep sending that son of a bitch money. There is a manual that's training these scammers on what to do and how to do it.
You tell her she's beautiful, just send her some pictures.
I'm no photographer, but I can picture us together. It's absolutely sickening. That's tomorrow. You don't want to miss that. So is Ricardo being honest about anything? And if not, who is Ricardo and where is Terri's money? Will she ever see any of that money again? Plus, how are some of my former guests doing who were unfortunately scammed as well? Have they learned after being scammed once and in some cases twice? All of that and more tomorrow. I want to thank all of my guests today. More information about today's episode, log on to drphil.com. You can follow me on all my social media platforms. You know what they are. Plus, it will link you to my podcast, Fill in the Blanks, as well as Robin's podcast, I've Got a Secret with Robin McGraw. Stay safe. We'll see you next time.